If you feel like you don't have any friends in college, it might not be your fault. Like, it totally might, and it probably is to some degree. But a lot of the time, and people don't talk about this, but a lot of the time feeling like you're not getting like the friend college experience that everyone gets isn't really your fault. There are things that like you can do to prevent this and you can do to fix the situation that you're in, but truly, if you feel like you have zero friends in college, there's a good chance that you're just being dealt a really bad hand, and people don't talk about that enough. Cheers. I'm drinking a crisp apple Olipop. I'm really excited. Okay. Get your Olipop, get your iced coffee, get whatever you want, because I'm about to get so real with you and I want you to be giving me your full attention and not dreaming about like some matcha in a faraway land. I need your full attention for this because I'm gonna get very vulnerable in this video and tell you exactly how I got to a point where I felt like I literally had no friends in college, but also how I moved away from that chapter and what I learned and what I want you to know, because figuring it out the hard way was exhausting, mentally, physically, all of the things. A little bit about me that you need to know for the context of this video. I am a junior in college. I go to a really small school. I have like less than like 1,500 kids, I think. It's safe to say less than 2,000 for sure. I know for a fact that my college is actually smaller than the high school I went to, so I go to a really tiny place. This video can still apply to you if you go to a huge school or like an SEC school. Like, you don't have to go to like some tiny private institution to relate to any of this, and I'm actually going to go into depth on that a little bit later in the video, but that is important for what I'm about to tell you guys. This is kind of going to be like a mix of a story time, but also like what I wish I knew, so I'm going to give you guys advice. This isn't just going to be a video complaining, I promise. Even though I love to complain, I'm going to do my best to give you some kind of optimism at the end of this, but I do want you guys to know I'm going to get very vulnerable. All of the mental health effects that you could assume would happen to someone who was friendless for almost 2 years happened to me, and I had to get through them, and it felt very painful. I feel that kind of residual discomfort and pain and loneliness in my heart when I think about what I went through still, even though I'm no longer in that place and I can successfully and confidently say that I'm out of the other end of it. But for 2 years, I felt like I either had no friends or the friends that I had weren't really friends at all. I'm gonna make that distinction. I think that you can actually have like an entirely full social calendar and still have zero friends. But I do want to make sure that y'all know, like, I went through both. Like, I've been through actually having a lot of friends and then none of them being genuine connections, and then I also like went through periods where I had zero people I could call and hang out with, and also zero people I could call if I needed help for anything. I do want to say, if you feel like you're experiencing this right now, I'm so sorry, and I know exactly what you're going through. I hope that this video helps you and makes you feel not only seen, but related to. And I think if a lot of people talked about their feelings about not getting like the college experience in a friendship context, maybe people wouldn't feel so lonely. Maybe it would be easier for individuals who do feel lonely at their colleges to deal with that and cope with that and know that they're not alone and know that it's not entirely their fault. I had so many learning moments when I was going through this, and I know now that a lot of these things probably were my fault to a degree, but a lot of it again is just incompatibility or having different standards than other people or having a different personality than other people. And I really wish someone just sat me down and told me several things about how I could make it out of this and how I could get past this. So enough with this intro. I want to get into the first segment that I have for y'all, which is kind of depicting the loneliest that I have ever felt. That feels really intense, but I don't want to sugarcoat anything because I didn't get the privilege of having this kind of situation sugarcoated for me. I had to feel everything for a really long time, and it is truly like the most lonely and worthless I've ever felt in my life. And just to honor my real experience, I'm not going to sugarcoat anything, but if that's not something that you want to hear, totally understand, feel free to click off the video. For those of you that want to know exactly how I felt, I had a pretty bad falling out with a friend group that I had last year in October, so this time last year. I'm filming this in October 2025. And I want to make it clear that this was not the only time I had a falling out with people that affected me, but this was just kind of the last eggs that I had in my basket situation. This was like the last straw, basically. So this wasn't like the most painful or most important moment. It was just the last thing that had to happen in order for me to go from like having like fake friends to having absolutely like literally no one. And I kind of divide these two parts of my life up based on this period of time, if that makes sense. I'm also going to try and talk like really clearly, but this is kind of convoluted, so stick with me. I am also an only child, And so that sets me up to get to choose my family a little bit more than other people do. I don't have sisters, I don't have brothers, I don't have any siblings at all, and I've always felt like friendship is extremely valuable because of that. I've always desired really good friendship because of that. It's been difficult my whole life caring more about my friends than other people do, but it's worked out a handful of times, and for those friends that I have today that have stuck by my side for over a decade, like, I am so grateful for you, and the times that it does work out, it makes me realize that seeking high quality friendship is both possible and worth it, even for all the crappy things that go along with it, and even for all the disappointments that you're set up for. So if you feel like you're just a person who's naturally inclined to care more about friendship, then you probably relate a lot to feeling disappointed from people or because of people. And that's exactly how I felt and have been feeling in my college experience. I had very high desire for friendship as well. I haven't naturally just been someone that people like flock to my whole life. I'm very outgoing and I'm an extrovert, and that's true for everything. Like, I'm just really outgoing and I'm kind of an open book, like almost too open, but I also haven't really been someone that people like just gravitate towards, I guess. So it's been a challenge to keep friends and make friends, but at the same time, like, I've always had that desire so strongly. I've always been really motivated to seek out friends, and I've always wanted high quality friendship. Because of these two desires that I have, both wanting friends, period, and then wanting high quality friendship, I am just prone to feel like even if I have girls around me that I can hang out with, or a social calendar that's like full, and I have plans like every single night to hang out with my friends, if that kind of friendship isn't serving me, I still feel very alone. I know that sounds super high maintenance, but I have never really been able to avoid that. I've kind of just always been this way, and I don't know if I'll ever change, and I try to work with myself on that a lot now because this experience happened to me, and I realized that even though I was in a friend group for a few weeks or months, I still felt alone every single time I hung out with this specific group of people because they weren't giving me what I needed in a friendship. I wasn't getting loyalty, I wasn't getting privacy, I wasn't getting security or trust or any of that. I wasn't getting any kind of fulfillment emotionally on a very vulnerable level, and all of the vulnerability that I would pour into those relationships wasn't mutual. It wasn't being given back to me, and I just really didn't want to leave the friend group for a really long time because I was convinced that I would like fix it. Like, I was convinced that I would be the difference and I would make it better. If you want to know anything about this type of friend group, it was the kind of girls that could like hang out with each other and like go take cute Instagram pictures together, and then that night like start talking crap about one another behind everybody's back. It was like that type of friend group. It was like they just flock to each other for security and numbers, I guess, but they don't actually have any meaningful connection between them, or at least they didn't at this time. I can't speak on that now, but when I was around them, I just began to realize very quickly it didn't matter how much they like talked crap about each other because they were just gonna come right back together and like go do something cute for Instagram or like go out to lunch or something. I was being conditioned to understand that it didn't matter how you acted in a negative way because they were gonna take their cameras out and go do something cute the next day, I guess, if that makes sense. So in the beginning of my time with them, that really bothered me, and I was convinced I was gonna fix it, but eventually when they weren't coming up here to like meet my standard of friendship, I was going down to meet theirs. It really wore on me. It really wore down my sense of will to like be the better person and like take the high road in situations. I got to a point where I was comfortable making the same mistakes that they were, and I think honestly there are several things I should have done differently in that situation, but to be fair, I was surrounded by people who were permitting that all of the time, and I don't do that in my other friendships. It was like just this period of my life where I felt so like worn down to the point where I was okay gossiping too. I was okay like talking crap about people too. I was okay like letting my friends do that. So being around like gossipers and liars and people who don't actually have their friends' best interest, like after a while, like that wears down on you, and it definitely wore down on me. So even before I exited that friend group and became like truly isolated, I felt like I was almost like pseudo isolated. Like, I don't know if that makes any sense. It just felt like even if I had people around me physically, I had no one around me emotionally. And it really was like the loneliest I had ever felt. Now I think I need to talk about how I truly did ignore so many red flags and I chose the wrong people to be friends with. When you are someone who really desires connection and friendship, you are willing to take anybody. People see this in dating relationships all the time. If you're really desperate for a boyfriend or a girlfriend, you're just willing to date anyone. I have a really incredible relationship with my boyfriend who I've been dating since I was a junior in high school, so I never craved like a new relationship in college, but I did see it up close. Like my friends that were out trying to date, like they would just take any dude, like any crusty, like dusty man, like they would just like accept anything. Like truly they would add anyone back on Snapchat, really. And like no shame to wanting connection, but it was so easy for me in my past 2.5 years in college to sit back and be like, oh my gosh, like they're literally so desperate, like they need to get up off the floor, like where is their dignity, blah blah blah. But I did the exact same thing with friends. I was willing to accept literally anybody and everybody that would pay me any kind of attention because my school is tiny and people are spoken for. People were spoken for by the end of my freshman year. So my sophomore year, when people were willing to invite me into a space, I was just happy to be there. And I was so unwilling to believe that either I couldn't fix them or it was going to turn out bad for me someday, and that I would also start doing those things that like I usually wouldn't do, because I just wanted to think optimistically. I was so desperate for that kind of attention. I had really like put myself in a situation where I felt like I had no other choice when that wasn't the case. Like, I want to make it very clear, I could have walked away at any point and I chose not to. And looking back on that, that is something that I wish I did differently so badly. We will talk about all of the advice that I have for you at the end of it, but again, I want to make it super, super clear, I could have just walked away and I didn't. That's the thing about being a grown adult. You don't have to spend time with people you don't want to spend time with. You can leave. The illusion is there, but you can leave, I promise. Because I was being surrounded by people who would tear down at my self-worth and then build me back up and then tear me back down and then build me back up, I felt like I wasn't in charge of defining my value anymore. And that doubt and that lack of trust that I began to have with myself set me up to feel so confused about all of the decisions I wanted to make. So like I had like no like backbone anymore. It was like being completely redefined by other people. I felt like I completely lost myself in this, and that can happen in dating relationships too. Like again, this is very common for people, and I thought, well, like I have a great boyfriend, like this isn't gonna happen to me. I didn't realize girl groups can do this to you. Now let's talk about what I wish I knew. I'm going to give you 3 lessons that I seriously wish I knew, and if I implemented these, I would have never been friendless. I want to make that clear right now. I left that friend group in October of 2024, and it took me until January of 2025 to have a friend. But yeah, I've got friends now. Reconciliation has even happened a little bit, and I have moved on in a really positive and healthy way. And these perspective changes that honestly I had to learn the hard way can prevent you from having to do the same. So these are my lessons. First and foremost, please be selective of who you offer your friendship to. Be friendly to everybody, but be very selective of who you offer your actual friendship to. Don't just assume everyone's trustworthy. Let people prove their character to you before you start investing emotionally into them. Please be selective. The second someone gives you a red flag or that bad gut feeling, it's okay to walk away. You don't owe people your time, energy, and vulnerability if you're not getting any of that back. If people are treating you like crap, you don't owe them anything. The second thing I wish I knew was not to lower my standards for anyone. Like, once I realized, oh, this is the kind of friend group that like is comfortable talking crap about each other, I should have left. I don't know why I let myself think like, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's okay to be like a serial gossip. What? That is not okay. Like, please don't lower the standards that you have for everyone, especially if you just like high quality friendships. And the third and most important lesson that I learned is please be willing to be alone. Truly alone. Be willing to have an empty social calendar. Be willing to spend every single night by yourself. Be willing to get to know yourself and be a friend to yourself. It is totally possible to figure out how much of a great friend you can be to yourself while you have a friend group or while you have friends around you. But it is really interesting and really funny, but not funny, but really funny, how quick you can become your own friend when you are forcibly put into a situation where you're alone, when you have no other choice but to be your own friend. It happens really quickly. For me, it only took 3 months to fall in love with my own company again. It only took 3 months for me to realize, yeah, I am a good person. I am worthy of time. I am worthy of attention. And I am able to stand up for and stand against things that I believe are right and wrong. I don't mean to get like sappy or cheesy here, but truly like the relationship I have with myself is like the most important relationship I have. And it used to be non-existent. It went from being non-existent to like my top priority in a very short amount of time because I had to do it the hard way. You don't have to do it the hard way. Take one weeknight every single week and just do something for you. Not in like a self-care, like spending $47 on eye patches kind of way, but like do something for just you. Read the book you've always wanted to read. Make the recipe you've always been wanting to make. Go do the hobby you've always wanted to do. You can go on a walk by yourself. Like, this is your permission. If you need to hear this from someone, if you've been needing permission from somebody, this is it. This is your permission to go spend time with just yourself and have the most fun you can have. Because eventually, you're gonna love your own company. You're not even gonna realize who's not clapping for you. It's gonna make me emotional because I went from feeling so alone. Sorry, I'm trying not to crash out. I went from feeling so alone to feeling so full, and no one flocked around me. I did that for myself. I love myself now. I trust myself now. I know I'm a good friend again. And I know now that if I was put in another position similar to that one, I wouldn't make those mistakes. I wouldn't let people who had really horrible intentions take over my life. And you don't have to either. Sorry, like I felt so lonely and so worthless. Like this time last year, I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to go anywhere. I didn't want to exist. Like I felt so worthless, and it didn't go away for a while. If I didn't fight for myself, no one else was going to. You don't have to let it get that bad. You can realize today, I'm accepting treatment that I don't want to accept. I'm treating people in ways I don't want to treat them. I'm doing things I don't want to do, and I'm around people who I don't like. You can stand up against that right now. You don't have to accept treatment that's bad. I want to kind of wrap things up and just tell you things that like you need to hear, especially if you've never heard them before. But friendship should not make you feel like garbage. Your friends shouldn't make you feel like crap. Friendship is not the place and not the kind of relationship to just go around girls that you want to hang out with and feel like crap every day. If you're around your friends and you feel more worthless, more useless, more helpless, more pathetic, and more sad about your life than you do when you're not around them, they're not your friends. If being friends with people is so mentally taxing to the point where constantly, by the way, like it's not like your friend's going through a hard time, like if this is just the overarching summary of one of your friendships or several of your friendships, you don't need to be there. Your friends will not make you paranoid about how they feel about you. It's okay to go be alone, but safe, than in a room full of people where you feel like you're in danger. Emotional danger is actually really easy to let yourself tolerate. Take it from me, I was in emotional danger every single time I was around them, and I didn't leave for like a really long time. And I was also contributing to emotional danger. Like it got to a point where it was mutual. It's actually really easy to let yourself fall into. And the last thing I want to say is that while a lot of this might be out of your control, while a lot of this might totally be sourced from other people's issues that they have with themselves, and while a lot of this might be the size of your college or the natural interests that you have or the clubs that you're in or the sports that you play or whatever it is, whatever situations you have that are out of your control, you can do something about it. You can do many somethings about this. Even if it's not your fault, you can fix it. You can actively take steps towards making your own life better. This is not permanent. This too shall pass. You don't have to let yourself take treatment from people that is beneath you and makes you feel less than. You're not better than anyone else, but nobody's better than you. God made all of us equally. He loves all of us the same. He sent his son to die for literally all of us. There are no exceptions to that. Don't let yourself get put into situations where you feel like you are taking treatment that you just don't deserve. And don't let yourself get put in situations where you're willing to treat people less than they deserve either. Y'all, I have tried to film this video 3 times now. 3rd time's a charm, clearly, because this was very difficult for me to sit down and get all my thoughts out. But as I'm filming this right now, I can just tell this one's the best take. I'm very proud of myself for making this. I've been wanting to make a video about this for about 6 months. Maybe like 5 or 6 months. I've been thinking about this for a while. After I met my current best friend in January, I realized that it was up to me to maintain a healthy relationship, and it was also up to me to choose someone that was compatible with me, and had the same will to be a good person and the same will to have a connection with someone. And when I found that, a lot of things shifted in perspective and made me realize like, hey, I can do something about this. But I am really glad I made this video, and if you have any comments, questions, concerns, please comment them. I read all of my comments, and I'm so grateful for your time. Thank you so much for watching. Have a blessed day, and also a crisp apple Olipop. Bye.